If you're watching this video, you might be considering buying an exotic pet. Exotic pets usually have special needs, and just simple research can help you to determine whether an exotic pet is right for you. The very first thing you should look up when you are deciding whether or not you want an exotic pet is to look up the laws. Now, each state is different when it comes to exotic pets. Some states don't allow exotic pets at all, and some states will allow most exotic pets. West Virginia allows most exotic pets, and some require some permits, but these are some things that you will want to take into consideration, because if you live in a state that doesn't allow your exotic pet, they might take it away from you and euthanize it. The next thing that you want to take in consideration before buying an exotic pet is what the natural temperament of the animal is. So you don't want an animal that might attack you or something that's dangerous, and you don't want something that is going to bite you a lot. You also might want to consider, if you have children, how the animal would react to children and if they are a good pet to have around children. Another thing along these lines is, how active is this pet? So will you need to walk this pet every day? Will they need to be going outside all the time? These are some things that might take hours out of your day that you might not actually have time for. Is this animal going to be destructive to your furniture or your house? So those are some things when it comes to temperament that you should consider. The next thing that you should be careful of when you're buying an exotic pet is where you decide to purchase the pet from. You're going to want to ask a lot of questions before you actually buy the animal. You're going to want to find out how the animals are cared for. If you're purchasing the pet from a store, you're going to want to know how they were bred and raised. So you want to make sure that the animal was captive bred by a reputable breeder. There have been some exotic pets that have been captured illegally and brought over to the United States, and many times it creates health problems for the animal later on. You're going to want to take a look at the conditions that the animal has been living in and make sure that the pets were properly taken care of up to this point. Red flags include a dirty cage, improper supplies. It's always good to go to the facility already knowing exactly what the animal needs and what their space should look like. You also want to check out some reviews online as well. One more thing that you should take into consideration is the price. So you're going to want to look at the average price of the pet that you want and see how this price stacks up with the price that they're going to be charging you. Now, a pet that is more expensive than average might be ripping you off, but a pet that is cheaper might raise some red flags. And you want to make sure that you're comparing apples to apples when you're doing this. So make sure that you know exactly what color and what breed of animal that you want. Lineage might make a difference in price as well. Now, aside from the price of your pet, your cage is probably going to be the most expensive thing that you're going to buy up front. So you want to find out how much space that your pet needs and if you can accommodate for that. Even small animals sometimes require a 5 by 3 foot cage, and sometimes larger animals will require a fence. And if you plan on keeping your pet uncaged, you might still want a crate for transportation and added convenience. The next thing that you're going to want to consider is food. Exotic animals are known for having special diets, and some you're going to need to prepare a meal with fresh fruits and vegetables, while some do have pellet food that you can feed. Now, while there might be some pellet food out there, you definitely still want to do your research to make sure that you're feeding the best diet that you can. So you're going to want to research what food the animal needs to eat, how often they need to feed, and how much it's going to cost you in the long run. Now on to the other supplies. What else does your pet need to be fully happy and healthy? Often pets need some kind of recreation, whether it be toys or a wheel. Be sure to research which toys are safe for your pet before introducing them. Other common things that your pet might need include things to chew on, things to wash the cage with, bedding, nail clippers, and what your specific pet needs will vary. Next, you want to consider whether you should get more than one pet, because some pets do better when there's more than one in the cage along with them. And you also want to consider the pets that you already have and if this pet will mesh well with your other pets. You may want to check what temperature their cage area needs to be at. Now, some cold-blooded animals especially require some supplemental heat, whether it be a heat lamp or a heat rock. One of the biggest things that you're going to want to consider when considering all of these different factors is how much time commitment are you going to need to have for this animal relative to your schedule. So, do you need to feed this animal every 3 hours? Is that going to mesh well with your schedule? So just because an animal requires a lot of time doesn't necessarily mean that it's not right for you. You need to look at your schedule and make sure that that's something that you can accommodate for long term. And another thing to consider is the longevity of the animal. Some of these animals, they might live to be up to like 15 years old. So you want to make sure that you can commit that amount of time to their care and you aren't going to give up on them midway through their life. Now, one of the biggest things that's overlooked when it comes to exotic pets is veterinary care. Every single pet that you are ever going to own is going to need a vet. Exotic vets can be hard to find, and many of these exotic vets don't actually specialize in your specific animal. You're going to want to call the office to be sure that the vet has enough room in their schedule to add your pet as a patient, and ask them if they have any experience with your kind of animal so that you can make an informed decision on what vet to go to. Now, the biggest thing is just to not wait until it's an emergency to find an exotic vet. Oftentimes, the place where you buy the pet, the breeder, or the store will know of an exotic vet to go to. The final thing that you're going to want to consider is who can take care of your pet when you can't. So whether you're going on vacation or you're going on a day trip, you're going to need someone who can watch your pet, and they're hard to find when it comes to exotic pets. So you're going to want to find out that before you decide to buy a pet. So the general theme to this video is to just do your research. So you want to look at all of these different factors, see if it fits in your schedule, see if it fits in your home, and good luck on your pet journey.